All right. Welcome everyone to week one of URI CSF 102. I want to start by thanking every single one of you that signed up for the course and decided to go on this journey with us. So today we have an ambitious agenda. I'm going to go through a couple of things, and one of them being what cybersecurity is. We're going to go through Sakai. So I'm going to try to kind of do a quick Sakai overview with all of you. Okay. And I'm going to talk about the CSF 102 and its e-text and the current setup and configuration that the e-text has. So that way we can make sure we're all on the same page and have that all situated for week two. I'm going to talk about the objectives of CSF 102, the A+ certification. I'm going to briefly talk about that. Why it's important and why it's really the main focus and kind of goal of this course, in addition to a bunch of other things. I'm going to talk about your Sakai quizzes that we have set up. I'm going to introduce you to virtualization. I'm actually going to go through the steps of setting up and configuring all of the servers with you guys, so you guys can kind of see exactly how that's done. We're going to create and set up a virtual machine. And the two virtual machines we're going to set up is a Windows XP machine and a Linux machine. Okay, and then I'm going to end by talking about your weekly quizzes that are currently set up and how they are. Okay, so without further ado, let's go into Sakai and take a look at the current layout and configuration of the Sakai course. Okay, so if you take a look here, you will notice that we have the Sakai CSF 102 course. Okay, so if you go home, you'll be able to see exactly how you can get help from CSF 102. So for questions on assignments, you can post them in the forum. Mike and myself, I'm Douglas Tondreau, Professor Tondreau, Douglas Tondreau, either or, it doesn't really matter to me. Mike and myself, we will be responding to your questions, so please make sure to post them in the forums, because other students may have similar questions to you, and they may be able to respond to those questions. Okay. For detailed questions on assignments and course material, please arrange an online help session with the teaching staff. Okay. So you can set that up with myself or Mike. So simply send us an email at csf102.staff@gmail.com, and we'll set some time to meet with you guys virtually to discuss any matter related to the class. For all other matters, anything that is critical, that's important, that you're confused about, that you feel that you need my help to answer, please send me an email, and I will do my best to get back to you in 24 hours or less. Okay. And if you look on the right-hand side, you will notice all of the announcements. So all the emails that I send out will always appear right here under the announcements sections. Okay. If you go to announcements, you'll be able to see what new announcements have been made, what new emails have been sent. You'll notice I sent an email on the 22nd. Mike sent an email on the 23rd. Okay. The syllabus, I know I went over that briefly. So if you take a look at the syllabus, the first thing I want to really address on the syllabus is the required course readings, right? So before we get into that, let me talk about the goal of this course. Okay. So the goal of CSF 102 is to introduce you to the basics of cybersecurity concepts, to provide students with hands-on practice with fundamental cybersecurity practices, to prepare students to further their study and take the A+ exam if they choose to. One of my main goals is that many of you consider taking this exam, or at least take a practice assessment to kind of see where you are. Also to prepare students for more advanced cybersecurity and digital forensic courses. So this course is really the foundational course for all the other higher level courses that you are able to take at URI to take your skills a step further into the cybersecurity realm. Okay. Specific learning outcomes are listed in each lesson on the Sakai site. Okay, so we're going to talk about that. So the required readings for this course is the GTS Learning CompTIA A+ ebook only. Okay, no labs. Okay, so what we wanted you to do is to actually purchase this book for $35. Okay, in the previous lecture, I had shared with you guys the Adobe Digital Edition download. Unfortunately, that is not what you guys have access to. So I'm going to try to clarify that in this lecture by going through all of the steps and actually setting this up with you to show you exactly how it's done. Okay, so I'm going to get to that next. Okay. Other online reading links in the lessons on the course site. The course provides background on Python, so please make sure, if you're interested, to kind of take a look at the URI Python link that we have. So if you just highlight this link, okay, I think you should be able to kind of go ahead and take a look at kind of what our Python links are. So we have a University of Rhode Island page that's created, so you can kind of go through and do the basics of Python on Code Academy. I highly recommend that many of you take full advantage of this and kind of go through this and take the course in the basics of Python. Python is a very, very powerful syntax language that is used in many databases today, where if you understand the language, it's actually a very popular language still in use. You'll be able to create, manipulate, and do a lot of things to databases, applications, and all different types of software. Okay, so I highly recommend that some of you take a look at this, or even start it to really start to strengthen your background on Python. Okay, let me go back here. So let's go back to downloading the book. So how do I download the book? I know many of you had questions around downloading the book and getting the book up and running and set up. Okay, so to download the book, all you have to essentially do is click on this link. Okay, and it's going to bring you over to gtslearning.com/CompTIA. So it's going to basically bring you to the ebook website. All right. Then you're going to see that you're purchasing the CompTIA A+ Certification 220-901 and the 902 book. It's the study guide. So this book is basically the fast-track study guide for you to be able to pass the A+ certification, right? So it covers topics in the 901 and the 902, okay? And if you look, this Skillpipe ebook is for anyone who wishing to qualify for the CompTIA A+ certification exam. It is perfect if you want to improve your skills in the PC support, administration, success in the CompTIA exam, helps to prepare you for a career in IT support, perhaps leading to further CompTIA vendor neutral certifications or qualifications for Microsoft, Cisco, and other certs. Okay. It also has embedded Professor Messer videos that are integrated with the book to really help you go a little bit further. Okay, here it says, okay, that the book uses the Skillpipe e-reader, which gives browser or app-based access to the full content with full bookmarking and annotation features. Okay, so it can even annotate the book. You can take notes, highlight, even print sections on the book. Okay, an activation key to your Skillpipe content is emailed on purchase. Okay. So content may be printed on a chapter-by-chapter basis for personal use only, okay? So you can print the content. However, it is only for personal use, okay? So please, if you're printing this book and utilizing it, don't share it with anyone, okay? It's only for your personal use, so you are not allowed to print the book and give it to others. Okay, so what you should know before purchasing this, okay? You should have basic experience of using PC, Microsoft Windows, and browsing the internet. You should be able to use a keyboard, recognize main components of the PC, start the computer, navigate to desktop, use the Windows Explorer, and use Internet Explorer to view websites, okay? I'm going to assume that many of you know how to do most of these things already. So, in order to purchase the book, you're going to click Add to Cart. Okay. Once you add it to your cart, you're going to proceed to checkout. Once you proceed to checkout, you're going to write your first, last name, company name, the country, etc. And then you're going to choose your preferred method of payment. Do you use debit card, credit card, or do you want to use a PayPal? Okay. Once you have successfully purchased the book, you will then receive an email. Okay. And the email will look something like this. It will basically say, okay, important information, please read. You will get your order number. It will tell you the product that you purchased. It will tell you your method of payment, okay? And you should get that within a few minutes of purchasing it. Once you receive that, you will get a follow-up email. The follow-up email will look like the following, okay? You will get this email here. You will get an email from GTS Learning Sales Skillpipe, okay? So it will tell you exactly how to access it. You are going to get a license code. Please make sure you use this license code only once and for yourself, because this license code is actually what is going to give you access to the book that you have. Okay, so you're going to copy the license code. All right. Once you copy the license code, you can go to skillpipe.com, okay, and there you can add course or whatever the case may be. You would paste your license code, okay, and you would validate the code, and you will get the book. In my case, I already redeemed my book, so it says you already have redeemed this course, so you cannot use this license code, okay. So you would go to add course, use your code, and you would redeem the book. So once you go to your bookshelf, you should see that you have the CompTIA A+ Certification Exam 220-901 Official Study Guide and 220-902 Official Study Guide. So if you click on the 220-901, you should see the following book, right? Looks like this, right? You should be able to easily navigate through. If you go to the table of contents, you'll see Module 1, 2, 3, and Module 4. Okay, and you can navigate through them. Okay, let me make a duplicate copy of this because I'm going to have to come back to this a few times. All right, and then if I take a look at the 902, right, same exact thing. If I go to table of contents, I see Module 1, 2, 3, 4 as it relates. So this is my 901 table of contents. Let me just click here so everyone can see. 901, right? And then when I click here, I see 902, right? 901, 902. Nice and easy to kind of navigate and see exactly what is happening between both books, okay? Let me go back to Sakai. So this is basically how you will have access to both of the books that we need you to have access to essentially for the course, okay? So once you have the book, you're pretty much set and ready to go. All right, so if you take a look at the syllabus, under the tentative course schedule, you will really see highlighted all the key things that we are going to kind of learn, okay? So there's this introduction material, which I'm going to go over with you today. There's the virtualization / digital data. There's Linux. All right, we're going to get into Linux. We're going to talk about hardware, motherboards, removable devices. We're going to do some hardware BIOS, RAM, and CPU revamp. We're going to spend 2 weeks on computer networks. We're going to spend a few weeks on the Windows operating system. Then we're going to introduce you to digital forensics. And lastly, we're going to end it with a bang on an introduction to cybersecurity. As you can tell, we have a very, very packed schedule, so I really want to kind of move right along with this, okay? You can review the syllabus on your own and really take some time to take a look at it and really see exactly what we're going to be learning, all right? And yes, the Skillpipe Reader is what we are going to be using for this course, all right? So please, if you don't have the Adobe Digital Edition, don't mind it. The Skillpipe is what you will have access to. and the course has been updated to reflect the Skillpipe. So you guys should be all set and good to go with that Skillpipe. All right. So from there, let's go to our first lesson. Okay. So here is what we have here. Okay. If you take a look, so here's the learning objectives for our, let's go back to lessons actually. Let's go to course intro. Let me view it as a student. Course intro. So if you take a look, okay, for the intro, you would have watched this video, these 3 videos here, okay, and then you were also supposed to take the practice quiz. The first video, I know some of you ran into an issue with, where if you click on it, you notice that it brings you over to a blank page, okay. So this is a issue inside of the Sakai site that we really can't fix. So in order to watch the video, which I think some of you clarified, all you have to do is right click on the video, select open link in new tab, and you'll actually be able to access, I'm sorry about the noise, you'll actually be able to access the introduction to video. So you have to right click on the video and select open link in new tab. The other videos work just fine, so you should be able to kind of click on it. Okay, so if you take a look here for our read/watch preface, you will notice that it says to read the e-text, okay, 902 pages I through X, okay, where you see the QR codes. However, what you'll notice is if we go to the 902, there really is no I through X, okay? So basically what we're saying here is to read the getting started section of it. So that's been updated, so it's actually going to show you the position that you're supposed to kind of really read and review, right? So this is kind of the positions that we're asking you to review and read for the most part. So as you go through the lessons now, it will tell you the position that you need to focus and take a look at in addition to the page numbers. Okay, so let's take a look. So right now, for this section, we're asking you to read the getting started. If you did that, that's cool. If you didn't, it's perfectly fine. No need to worry about it. Okay. The second lesson, we will really kind of fix that. Okay. Then once you did all of this for the intro, you are supposed to take the practice quiz. The practice quiz is a good way to kind of get yourself acclimated with the course, how it's running, and kind of the main objectives of the course for the most part. Okay, and I'm going to review all of the quizzes with you so you guys can kind of see how the setup is. Okay, so this assessment hasn't been submitted, blah, 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 not allowed. Okay, so let me exit the student view so I can actually take a look at the quiz. Yeah. So the first quiz is the practice quiz. Okay, so let's take a look at the practice quiz. So the practice quiz is really focused on exactly the reading. Okay, so in this case, given that you were supposed to read I through X, right, and I know some of you didn't get the chance to read through it, but it really focused on the getting started section. Okay, so the help desk analyst certification series administered by the Help Desk Institute certifies learners in which of the following CompTIA career pathways. In this case, that would be the help desk support analyst. The HDI certification is what focuses on help desk support. So the HDI, or Help Desk Institute, creates these exams to meet that need. Okay. Question 2. According to the reading, what are the 4 steps to getting CompTIA certified? So, if you notice here, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps, right? So it's saying, what are the 4 steps? And given that you have the square versus the circle, you know that you can choose more than one answer. In this case, okay, it's review the certification objectives to make sure you know what is covered in the exam, take a free assessment and simple test from CompTIA, select a certification exam provider, and purchase the exam. Okay, so all of the above is actually correct, so none of the above would not be correct. So whenever you see the square and you can select multiple, always know that what I'm looking for is for you to select more than one answer. Whenever you see the fill in the circle, right, you can only select one answer. All right, so make sure you pay attention to that as you go through the quizzes and answer what's going on for the most part. And we're going to review all of the quizzes. I'm going to have some more live lectures where I actually focus on going over the answers and in-depth explanation as to why the answers are what they are. Okay, so that's basically how the quiz setup is for the most part. So that's the intro. So if you look at what you had to do for this week, okay, for this week you had to read Module 4, Unit 4, Virtualization and Services, e-text. Okay, so what you notice is I have the reading in both sections. So if you manage to get the Adobe download, I have the page numbers for the Adobe section. Also, if you manage to get the Skillpipe reading, which is what, excuse me, most of you have, you will notice that I put the position. So for this week, you are to read Module 4, Unit 4, Virtualization and Services, e-text, okay, on the Skillpipe reading. So if I go to my 902 section of Skillpipe, I go to Module 4. I'm going to open it. Unit 4, right? If you notice, it says it. Module 4, Unit 4, Virtualization and Services. Okay, and if I come here, I see Module 4, Unit 4, Virtualization and Services. When I click on it, okay, it's going to take a while to load. You'll notice that the position is 11,961. And if you go to your Sakai, you'll notice that it starts at 11,906. That is because I started with literally the title of the page, right? 11,906, and you notice that it matches. So just look at the position. Instead of page numbers, instead of position, I put page numbers, and it shows you exactly what that is. If you do have the Adobe reading, the page numbers for the Adobe reading is also there. They are the exact same book. What I did is I put the page numbers for the reading based on what you have. Okay, so if you have the Skillpipe reading, the page numbers for the Skillpipe are right there. If you have the Adobe reading, the page number for the Adobe reading is right there as well. So make sure you have a good sense and a good understanding of kind of what that is and how to access it, so that way you're not confused or have any issues with what's going on. Okay, so let's take a look at the agenda just to make sure we're on the same page. So I think we're still we're doing good. I'll cross them out as we kind of go through them. Okay, so this week on May 26th, okay, which is soon, you will have a quiz on digital data and the A+ on virtualization. Here's an advice I will give you. The questions come directly from the reading. So if you actually read through all of the virtualization, you should definitely get 100, because I actually read the entire chapter, and all of my questions come directly from the reading and the Professor Messer videos. Okay, so definitely take some time to read through this and take notes, because all of the questions come directly from them. Once the time has passed and everyone has completed it, I will actually go over all of the quizzes and all of the answers related to that particular quiz. So this week's quiz comes directly from Module 4, Unit 4, Virtualization and Services. Okay, so make sure to pay attention to that. Your assignment for this week, okay, so you have two assignments. You have a virtual machines assignment, and then you have a digital data assignment. Okay, so if you open up the digital data assignment, you will notice that you will have to create the following. Okay, you will have to create an attached final.zip folder and create a single .zip folder and place the following files in it. You are supposed to create a myinfo.pdf, myinfo.text, myinfo.docs, myinfo.pdf.zip. So the video will actually show you, okay, the video that you have to watch, all these instructions here on this Google Drive will actually show you exactly how to create each and every single one of these files. Okay, so make sure you go through, watch, and hand in exactly what is being asked of you to hand in. Okay, so that is for the digital data section. For the virtual machines assignment, okay, what we want you to do here is the following. Okay, so we want you to essentially follow the steps that we have here and create a virtual machine. Okay, once you have finished creating the virtual machine, we want you to answer, okay, questions 1 through 10, okay, in chapter 6 at position 1721 of the eText 902. Okay, so if you have the Adobe Digital Reading, you'll know where questions 1 through 10 are. They're at the end of the chapter. So if you have the eText or the Skillpipe, it will be position 1721, okay, of the eText. So you come here to the eText. We go to the end. Okay, 1721 plus 17. So essentially here are the review questions that you have to answer. Okay, so it starts at 17 right here, 17. So these are the questions right here. Okay, so you have to answer 1 through 10. Okay, what is a type 2 hypervisor? What is a guest OS? What system resources are most important on a system designed to host multiple virtual machines? What might you need to install a guest OS to make full use of an emulator's features? True or false, VMs can be networked together using a virtual switch implemented in software by the hypervisor. So again, we're actually going to answer all of these once everyone has handed them in. I'm going to do these myself with the answers, and I'm going to show you exactly what the answers are. Okay, and as you read it, you can actually take notes and add notes to your reading and actually save that so you can make your life a little bit easier as well. Okay, so that is for the last half of this. Again, once you're done, you're going to save your answer document as a PDF file with your last name underscore VM.pdf. So let's go through actually setting up this virtual machine. Okay, so how do you set up this virtual machine and get everything up and running, right? How do we do that? So in order to do that, we're actually going to read through the directions. So the first thing that we're going to do is download and install our VirtualBox. So to do that, the virtual environment software solution we'll be using for this course is the multi-platform VM software VirtualBox. Okay, this software works on both Windows and Mac OS X. So to download and set this up, I'm going to click here, and I'm going to go to this link. Okay, and depending on the host that I have, I'm going to select an OS X host, OS X host, or a Windows host. Again, if you have a Mac, make sure you select the OS X host. If you have a Windows, make sure you select the Windows host. So I'm going to click on it. Okay, and it's going to download and do what it has to. While that's downloading, okay, I'm going to go to question 2. Okay, on the downloads page, download the VirtualBox extension pack. Okay, so we want to make sure that we download the VirtualBox extensions pack, right? After you install VirtualBox and launch it, for Windows users, go to File, Preferences. For Mac OS X users, go to VirtualBox Preferences. Under Extensions, add the VirtualBox extension pack. So we want to make sure we do those two things. So let me open up my VirtualBox. Okay, to set up and install VirtualBox, I'm going to get this. It's going to pop up here. I'm going to click Next, 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 and yes. We're not going to do anything. We're just going to install it and configure it. Okay, and for those that have additional hard drives and want to add their VirtualBox on a separate hard drive, I will do an additional lecture going over that with you. Okay, so in the process when you're installing it, you'll see a few things that comes up, such as, would you like to install this device software? I'm going to say yes, so those are some security issues that if your computer has set up on it, that may come up, okay? Once this is all set, we're going to click finish, okay? And once we have successfully finished downloading the VirtualBox, you're going to see the Oracle VM VirtualBox Manager, okay? So on the downloads page, download the VirtualBox extension pack. So where is the extension pack? We want to do the extension pack. Let me go back to this. On the downloads page, on the VirtualBox extension pack. Where is the extension pack here? Let me go back to the downloads page. Downloads. There we go. Please download the extension pack here, okay? So you're going to see, okay, please download the extension pack here. So we're going to click on this to download the extension pack, okay? So on the announcement, after you've installed VirtualBox and launched it for Windows, go to File, Preferences for Mac OS users, go to under Extensions, add the VirtualBox extension pack. So we just downloaded this VirtualBox extension pack. So now what we're going to do, okay, to add that extension pack, we're going to go to File, Preferences, okay, and we're going to do under Extensions, add the VirtualBox extension pack, okay, File, Preferences, under Extensions, okay, so here's the extensions. We're going to add new package, okay, in this case, since I just downloaded this, it should be in my Chrome downloads. Here's my Oracle VirtualBox extension pack. I'm going to click open, and then I'm going to install, okay, and I'm going to scroll all the way down so it can allow me to agree. If you don't scroll all the way down, then it's basically showing that you didn't read it. So just, read through this, then I agree. Yes. Now it's going to install the extension. I failed to install Okay, so I just got to move it away from that. So I'm going to actually take the extension pack. I'm going to move it somewhere where I know I can actually access it without any issues. So I'm going to re-go through that step. Okay, so I'm going to do this one more time. File, Preferences, Extensions. I'm going to remove it. Remove. I'm going to add. Desktop. Failed to install. Details. Version mismatch. Okay, so it's basically saying the version, the extension pack that I'm downloading is, if you are using VirtualBox, please download. Okay, so I'm not using 5.0, so I don't think I need to download the extension pack. VirtualBox extension pack, all supported platform. So I think this one comes. Okay, so here goes the one that I should have downloaded. Which is, so I downloaded the wrong extension pack. I downloaded the extension pack for the 5.04 versus the 5.11. So let's do it again. Okay, File, Preferences, Extensions. I'm going to remove this one because it didn't go through. and I'm going to download the correct one this time. Okay, so I'm going to go to downloads. Again, yours might look different from mine. If it does, it's perfectly fine. Don't stress it too much. Again, I'm happy to log in online and meet with anyone who has any issues. Okay, so I think I downloaded the right one now. Again, you want to make sure that you download the extension pack that matches your the version of see. So my extension pack was now successfully downloaded. Okay, all set. And the issue I was running into, if you guys notice, right, was I was downloading an extension pack that didn't meet the requirements that my VirtualBox had, right? So I was using this extension pack for VirtualBox 5.0, but if you notice, I downloaded VirtualBox 5.1, right? So the extension pack I need is actually this one, but I was clicking on that one by accident. So now my extension pack is all set, right? So things are looking good. So now that I've successfully downloaded the extension pack, just like I've been instructed to by the reading, I am now going to download the Windows XP virtual machine. So I'm just going to click here, right? This is going to take a while, so I'm going to allow that to download. And then I'm also going to download the latest 32-bit version of Ubuntu right here, okay? And I know some people ran into an issue where they said, well, if I'm using a 64-bit machine, should I not be using the 64-bit Ubuntu? You could do that, but for the sake of this assignment, let's just set up the 32-bit version for now. I will show you how to set up the 64-bit in future lectures, but for now, we should be able to set up the 32-bit. Okay, so I'm going to click on this, and I am also going to download the 32-bit of Ubuntu. Okay, so once these two files are done, the Windows XP VM is the appliance, so it's basically pre-built. So we pre-built the Windows XP for you guys, so you will be able to kind of see exactly what it is that we are going to set up for you. Okay, and right now, as you can see, I have no virtual machine set up, and once this is done, I am actually going to show you exactly how to put all of this together and set it up for your first assignment. While this is all downloading, let me go back to Sakai to go over this with you guys. Okay, so one of the things I wrote in the agenda was we are going to talk about what cybersecurity is. Okay, so what is this cybersecurity thing that we are also obsessed with nowadays, or want to know more about, because we're realizing more and more that this is a true threat that we never paid close attention to, right? Whenever you hear cybersecurity, simply think of one word: security. Okay, so cybersecurity is essentially computer security, also known as cybersecurity. Okay, so it is the protection of computer systems from theft, damage of hardware, software, or any type of information that could possibly be stolen or taken from anyone. Okay, and the goal that we have of this course is to introduce you to all of the elements that cybersecurity essentially has to offer. Okay, so we're going to talk about the body of knowledge that exists, the various cores that you need to understand, the hardware vulnerabilities, the software vulnerabilities, and the user vulnerabilities that often exist that most people don't pay attention to. Okay, so cybersecurity is essentially the body of technologies, that processes and practices, and the design that we really use to protect our networks, our computer, our data from various forms of attack and unauthorized usage, right? And what we're going to spend a lot of time really focusing on is kind of giving you a huge overview of what all of that really means. Okay? So the Sakai overview, let's go back to Sakai and let's finish that so I can make sure we're all set. So you guys kind of know that these are all the lessons, and you know that if you have the skill of reading, you're going to follow the position numbers that I have here. If you're using the Adobe reading, you're going to follow the Adobe page numbers that we have here. Again, the forums are really utilized for you to ask each other questions. If you're confused about an assignment or you need help about something, please post it in the forum, and we will all be responding to the forum to kind of really help you answer any question that you may have. The help sessions. So if you go to the help session, you will see exactly when we have office hours. Okay, so we have office hours Mondays from 3:15 to 4:15, and on Wednesdays from 3:15 to 4:15. So if you ever need help, every single Monday, Mike will be there. Okay, or you can send him an email, and you will notice that you can just log in between these times, and someone will always be here to help you. Okay, if you can't make any of these days, please send an email to us at csf102.staff@gmail.com, and we will gladly log in to help you any way that we can. Your assignments, you will notice that these are where your assignments are. So your first assignment is the virtual machine assignment, which is what I'm going over with you. The tests and quizzes, this is where all your tests and quizzes will be located. Okay, so you'll be able to kind of see exactly what kind of tests and quizzes you have. Your grade book, you'll be able to see what your grades are once you've completed one or two assignments. You go to resources. Okay, the resources, this is where I am going to post a lot of material that you may find helpful and handy in this course. Okay, so when I do a quiz review or feedback on the quiz, all of that stuff is going to be there. My live lecture agenda is going to be there. So this is our first week. So you'll notice that week one's agenda for CSF102 is published in here for you to access. If you go to live lectures, you'll notice that the first lecture we did on Introduction to CSF102 is here. So our week one lecture will also be here, and you'll be able to review it at any time if you have any questions about anything. Okay, the facts section, this is basically where we'll be posting, facts and useful information that you may find handy as far as creating a zip folder, providing screenshots, file sizes, uploading information, etc. Okay, so the resources is a very, very nifty and unique section that we're going to be utilizing to publish and post things that you will need access to or want to have access to be able to get things done. Okay, so the Ubuntu is done. The disk images file is corrupted. Okay, show in folder. So my Ubuntu file is corrupted. It's fine. I'm just going to delete it because I know why it got corrupted. That's because I have too much stuff going on right now, which is perfectly fine. We can re-download it once the Windows XP piece is done. Okay. So I think you guys have a good sense of the Sakai overview. You have a good sense of the CSF102 and its text. Okay. And I think you have a good sense of the objectives of CSF102. Okay. So now let's talk about the A+ certification exam. Okay. So the A+ certification exam is a very popular and useful exam. Okay. So what the A+ certification exam does is it measures you in two folds, right? It measures you in computer hardware, okay, and computer software, okay. So the 902 is the first part of the exam, right? So, the 901 is the first part of the exam. So the 901 focuses a lot really on hardware, right? And if you look here, that's why in the reading you will notice that you have two different sections to the book. You have the 901 series, right? So the 901 really, if you look at the table of contents, focuses on the physical hardware of machines, peripheral devices, system components, troubleshooting, printer and networks, etc., and how to take the exam. So the 901 is really focused on the hardware piece of it, right? And if you take a look in the reading, you'll notice that 34% of that exam for that part is hardware, 21% is networking, 17% is mobile devices, and 28% of it is network and troubleshooting. So the exam is broken into two parts. So if you want to get certified, you would go to the Pearson website, okay, and you would register to take the exam. So you would go to Pearson View, all right. So you would go to Pearson View, the Pearson View website, all right, and you would go for test takers. You could schedule an exam, okay. Name or acronym of your test, so we could do A+, okay. You would basically obviously write CompTIA, right, and you would specify the CompTIA certification that you're looking for. So if it's the A+, we would want to make sure we say, we want to do the A+. If we wanted to do a different one, so you would have to create an account, right? Yes, I agree to the policies. Yes. Okay, we got to put a check mark. Okay, so this is where you would go to register and take your A+ certification. So you would go to pearsonview.com and you would specify that you want to do the CompTIA A+, all right, and you would create an account and it would register and save that account for you. And we'll go deeper into this as the course goes on, right? And it will create an ID for you, your title, and all of your information will be stored there. So this is where you can actually come to actually create an account to take the exam, right? So given that the exam is broken into two parts, you would register for the 901 first, okay? And once you successfully pass the 901, then you would go and you would take the 902, okay? So the 902 piece of the exam is a little bit different because it focuses more on the software side of things, right? So if you look at the table of contents for 902, it's all about Windows, and networks, right? So the second part of the exam is more practical, I would definitely say, right, where it tests you on Windows operating systems, other operating systems. It tests you a lot on security, troubleshooting, and some operational procedures, right? So do you understand how to use the Windows operating system? Do you understand how to troubleshoot it? Do you understand how to use the various network issues or possibilities that exist within the system? So that's kind of what the Windows piece really focuses on, right? So that's what the A+ certification exam essentially is all about, all right? So let's go back to our virtualization so I can kind of show you. I think our first download might be all set, okay? So now that this is done, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to go back here and take a look at what it says, okay? So once the Windows XP is downloaded, the Windows XP VM is an appliance, a pre-built VM VirtualBox. So we're going to go to File, Import Appliance, and import the .ova. So this is a .ova file because we configured the file and created it for you and added a bunch of tools that we want you to utilize for this VM. Okay. So if you look at the agenda, we're not really jumping too far off because we're still on virtualization right now. What I'm basically doing is, showing you how to use the virtualization piece. So what is this piece of software that we're looking at, right? And why is it important that you understand what it is and how it works? So virtualization is very, very unique in the fact that it is an environment, right, that is created that actually allows you as a user to essentially virtualize any environment that you can think of, okay? So let me try to put it like this. So in computing, virtualization essentially means to create a virtual version of a device or a resource, okay? So let's say someone had a server and you wanted to mimic that server. You can actually, download VirtualBox, VMware, or any other virtual environment that you have. And as long as you have the ISO or that software, you can actually create that virtual device, and it will act just as if it's the real, fully functioning device that you have, all right? So any type of operating system, any type of application, any type of framework, any type of resources, that you've seen in an environment, if you want to replicate it, you can actually create it inside of this virtual environment that we have set up. So in this case right now, for this lab, we're having you set up a virtual Windows XP. And what's the difference between a virtual and a regular Windows XP? Believe it or not, absolutely nothing. The only difference being, in a virtual environment, okay, you have your host. So in this case, my host is my physical computer that I'm using here, and you have your virtual environment. So what are some things that we need to know and make sure that we pay attention to before starting up a virtual machine? In the case of Mac and Windows, they both have the same issue. So in my computer, I'm going to go to my computer, I'm going to go to the properties, I'm going to look at the specifications that my computer currently has in it. So in this case, right, my computer has 32 gigs of RAM, and it's a 64-bit operating system. So I know that whatever type of virtual machine that I set up, I cannot assign more than 10 or 15 gigs of RAM to it, because in total my computer has 32 gigs of RAM, right? So what the virtual machine essentially does is it takes your physical computer's hardware, okay, and it utilizes it to add resources or allocate resources to your virtual machine. So your host, your physical computer, needs to have enough resources and enough hard drive space, enough memory, enough CPU power to actually share some of it with a virtual environment. And we're going to go deeper into a lot of what that means as the course goes on. Okay, so to set up this virtual Windows XP, I'm just going to go to File, Import Appliance. I'm going to browse. I'm going to find the OVM, Chrome Downloads. Here's my Windows XP. I'm going to open. Okay, next. Next. Okay, and it's going to basically import the Windows XP for me that I created. Okay, and while that's happening, I'm going to re-download the Ubuntu to make sure that all goes well with it. Okay, so once this is done, once the Windows XP is done, I will actually, and I should be able to see a fully functioning Windows XP on my machine, right? And I should be able to access it as if I was running it on a regular computer, all right? So, let me come back here. All right, and it might take a while depending on the speed of your computer and how much resources you have on your computer, right? And please remember that if you don't have enough resources, that you should not be allocating more resources than you have on your personal computer to that VM, because that can definitely cause issues down the line, right? So let me go into detail a little bit more as to what I mean by that, right? So in my computer, in my physical host, right, for my hard drive space, I have two separate hard drives, right? I have one that has 238 gigabytes. I have one that has 2 terabytes, right? So if I'm running my virtual machine on the hard drive that has 238 gigabytes, I can't assign, okay, more space than I have. So given that I have 238, it's impossible for me to assign 238 to a machine, right? Because I already have information that's being utilized from this computer that's taking up a lot of that space, okay? So in this case, given that I have 41.2 gigabytes free, I will have to be mindful of assigning space, because all I can really assign is anywhere from 20 to 30 gigabytes of space, because my hard drive is already full. However, if I was running the virtual machine in this 2 terabyte hard drive environment, it's a little bit different. I can assign as much space as I would like to assign to it, because I have the freedom to do so. Okay, so now that I have this set up, all I have to do is click on the VM, okay, and my Windows XP should load, okay, and I should be able to use it as if I am running a regular Windows XP. As you can tell, here is my Windows XP, and anything I could do in a regular Windows XP, I can actually do here. I can go to Start. I can open Internet Explorer. Okay. I can go to YouTube, youtube.com. I can go to abc.com. Right. I can go to NFL.com. Right. I can do anything in this machine that I can do in a regular machine, right? Nothing is different from this machine than my regular machine, right? Only difference is it's inside of a virtual environment, so it allows me to test a lot of unique and cool things, right? So in this case, given that we customize this Windows XP for you, you will be able to see Wireshark, RecycleBin, and all of the different tools. RecycleBin isn't part of the operating system, but you'll see Wireshark, Nexus Client, the Forensic Toolkit, all the various tools that we are actually giving you access to, so you can do a lot of cool and unique things on your machine. Okay, so that's how you would set up your first VM, which is your Windows XP. And you want to make sure you shut it down properly, because you can run into issues when you don't shut your VM down properly. So I would go to Start, turn off PC, and shut it down this exact way here. Okay, so that's how I would shut down the VM. Let's do the last and final one, so you guys can see how that works. Show in folder. Okay, so now let's set up the Ubuntu. Okay, so let's see what it says for the Ubuntu. Create a new VM with the following properties. So we're going to create a new virtual machine with 512 megabytes of RAM. We're going to do a new VDI virtual. Leave the recommended size. We're going to apply 8 gigabyte of drive. Attach the Ubuntu ISO that you downloaded above to the VM as a CD. You don't have to burn the CD. Treat the ISO file as if it were a boot CD. Check the boot order in VirtualBox. So let's basically go through this and actually set it up the way we would want to set it up. Okay, so how could we do that? So to do this, we're going to have to do it the following way. Okay, we're going to go to New. Okay, we're going to name this Ubuntu. We're going to let's make it a 32-bit. Next. Let's make sure we're following the assignment. 512 megabyte of RAM. I'm gonna make it a little bit more than 5, because it's saying at least 1 gig. I'm gonna make it a little bit over 2 gigs. Okay, then we'll do next. Create a virtual hard disk. Let me see what it said for us to create here. New VDI. Okay, so we're going to do a create a virtual hard disk. Next. So we're going to do a new VDI. So that's already selected. We're going to leave it as VDI. Next. Dynamically allocate. Yeah, you want to allow it to dynamically allocate. So what that means is, as your Linux environment increases, it will automatically add more space to your hard drive. So you want to make sure you expand your hard drive if you're allowing things to dynamically allocate to your system. Next, so it's saying select the virtual hard disk. So right now we have 10 gigs. I'll do 20. I'll do a little bit under 2019. Okay, then we're going to select create. Okay, so now what it's saying that we want to do is we want to attach the Ubuntu ISO that we downloaded above to the VM as a CD/DVD. Okay, so in order to do that, we are going to start our VM. Okay, and I'm trying to move this stuff over for you guys to see, but it doesn't want me to, unfortunately. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to select my ISO that I just downloaded, which was it's going to automatically pop up and say, how do you want to launch this? Okay. And in this case, I am going to select hold on, where's the downloads? Chrome downloads. Chrome downloads. There we go. Ubuntu. I'm going to select this. Open. Okay. So now once you have selected that, okay. Once you've selected that, you're going to see this is going to come up and it's going to say which language would you like to select. All right, we're going to use English. No, I don't know any of these other languages, so I'm going to stick to English. Okay, I'm just going to press enter, and then it's going to say how do you wish to install your Ubuntu, and try Ubuntu. So we're going to install Ubuntu. Okay, and you're basically going to install it and set it up just like that. Okay, and it might take a while to download, set up, and run, but for the most part, if you follow the steps that I kind of just showed you, you select the ISO, you went to create new, and you made sure you specify the exact disk spaces that we asked you to select, you should be able to create and configure your machine just like we did. Okay, so once you've successfully done that, you're gonna, get a welcome sign, continue. We can do this later, so well, we'll download updates, I guess. Continue. This is fine. It's going to erase disk and install Ubuntu. So it's basically saying it's going to do a clean install of Ubuntu. That's perfectly fine. Install now. Because right now we had nothing on the disk anyways, so it doesn't matter. Okay. Then it's going to say what time do we want to select. Yeah, you want to select New York. English again. Then you're going to put your name. In this case, I'm going to put Douglas. And I'm going to put a password. Given that it's a Linux operating system, passwords are case sensitive, so make sure your password is lowercase. For me, I'm just going to keep it basic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and it's going to start downloading and setting up Ubuntu for me. Yep, so it's downloading now, and we just have to essentially wait until it's done. All right, and that's basically it, guys. So we created a virtual machine. I did introduce you briefly to Windows XP and Linux. Okay, and we talked about the weekly quizzes that you guys are going to be taking. Okay, so each lesson has a weekly quiz that's attached to it that you'll have to take. So in our case, given that, you know, we're in, this is the weeks that we're in, okay? If you go to tests and quizzes, you will notice that you have your next quiz coming up, which is your virtualization and digital data quiz, okay? So this quiz will be open 5/26/2017 for you guys to take, and you know, good luck with it. Definitely read the chapters that I went over. If you did all that, you should be fine, okay? And that's basically all I have for tonight. I hope you guys, you know, are learning a lot and enjoying the course so far, and you know, loving what you're learning. I'm going to wait to make sure that you guys can kind of see what this looks like at the end. So I'll wait a few minutes until this is done. Yeah, so it's downloading all of the things that it needs to. But in the meantime, you should have a Windows XP in your virtual environment, and you should have an Ubuntu that exists in your virtual environment, because you're going to need both to complete the virtual machine side or section of the assignment. And once you complete all those things, I think you should be very well off, I would say, to an awesome and great start. And you know, again, if you guys have any questions, post them in the forum, send us an email, and we will do our best to get back to you and answer all of the questions. All right. And I'm going to review every assignment once the due date has passed, and to let you guys know where everyone went right, and some of the growth areas that exist for some of you within the assignments. Okay, so that's all, again, that I have for tonight. This is taking a little bit of time to download, but once it's done, you'll be able to access your Ubuntu, which will look like the following. So I'm just going to open up something else where I have it. Nope, I actually don't have it here. I thought I did. So no, I don't have it in my VMware, so I'm not able to show it to you. Okay, but that's all I have for tonight, guys, and I will be doing more lectures. If you find these helpful, let me know. If you want to set up some time to meet with me and go over this personally, I am happy to also do that. All right. Thank you so much, guys. I hope you're enjoying the course, and good luck. Okay. Have a good night.